Hi, welcome. In this video, we will solve problem insert interval asked by companies like LinkedIn, Microsoft, Facebook, and others. Now let's start solving problems on intervals. Okay, in DSA, the intervals topic is one of the favorite topic of the interviewers. So you will get different questions around intervals, insert the interval, merge overlapping intervals, print out the non-overlapping intervals. Okay, so let's understand what is this problem statement. This is the one of the first problem on intervals. Let's see. So you are given an array of non-overlapping intervals. Non-overlapping, that they are not overlapping. I will discuss it in detail. Where interval I is equals to start I and end I. So basically this is the starting and this is the ending of an interval, right? Then the start and end of the interval. We put SD of the ith intervals. This is my ith interval and intervals in sorting ascending order. Okay, so they are sorted in ascending order by start intervals. So basically whichever interval will start first, okay, it will be in the first of the array, right? So they are basically sorted in ascending order by the starting time. Okay. You are also given an interval, that is new interval. This is new interval with the start and end, that the start and end of the another interval, and we need to insert this here. Okay, new interval into intervals such that the will be still sorted in ascending order by the start time, and interval still does not have any overlapping intervals between them. Okay, we need to basically merge the overlapping intervals if there is, and then we need to return it. Okay, return intervals after the insertion, and note that you don't need to modify intervals in place. You can make a new array. So basically we don't need to modify the same array. We can simply create one array and then return it, right? So there is no need to like work on this space complexity, right? They are saying that you are free to choose any space. Okay, so let's see we have how these intervals are arranged. So we have one interval that is from 1 to 3. Okay, so this is 1, this is 3, and one interval that is from 6 to 9. And then we have one interval that is from 2 to 5, right? So I guess 2 is here somehow, and 2 to 5 will be at here, right? Before 6. So 2 to 5. Okay. Now this is an interval that is overlapping, right? This is an interval that is overlapping, right? So what will the final output? Basically, you will merge this interval, right? And if you are merging it, so what will be the starting point of the interval? The first start, whichever is minimum, right? So we have 1, we have 2, okay, which is minimum 1, and then 3 and 5, whichever is the maximum. Okay, so 5 is the maximum. So this will be the new interval after overlapping, right? 1 to 5, and then we will have one interval that is from 6 to 9, right? So this will be my output, and you can see this is our output in the question. Okay, so I hope you got the problem statement, right? How the sample input is coming from the output. Now let's see how we can solve this problem. What are the different approaches? How we can move to the an approach? So let's see. Okay, so we will discuss one specific case, right? And we will try to understand from that case. Okay, so let me create one intervals. So we have one interval that is from suppose 1 to 2, one interval that is from 3 to 4, one interval that is from 5 to 7, and one interval is that is from 8 to 12. Suppose one is from 14 to 16, one is from suppose 18 to 20. Okay, let's take a case, and then we have one new interval that is starting from 6 to 10. Let's suppose that is starting from 6. It will lie here somehow, 6 to 10. Okay, so this is the basic problem, and what will the solution of it, right? So basically this is the overlapping interval. If I merge it, so my answer look like something how that 1 and 2 as it is, then 3 and 4, then instead of 5 and 7, it will be one interval from 5 to 12, right? If I merge it, if I basically merge this interval, this will be one interval from 5 to 12. So I will rewrite 5 to 12, this interval, 14 to 16, and then 18 to 20. Okay. Now let's see how we will solve this problem. Okay, and understand this problem. So if you see clearly, okay, there is one thing, that before merging, if there is any interval that is merging with the new intervals, we call this as in, these are basically our intervals. This is my new interval right here. This is my new interval in green. So before merging, right, if you check these intervals, right, I can directly put in my answer without changing anything, right? If these intervals are not overlapping, I can simply put in my answers. Also, the intervals that are after the merging, right, after the overlapping, I can directly put into my answer as it is, right? So if, right, before an overlapping section, right, remember, before an overlapping section, this is my overlapping section. Okay, before an overlapping section, I can directly put my intervals as it is, and after the overlapping section, I can directly put the intervals as it is, right? No need to change anything. Okay, now what is my task? I just need to find how an overlap, right? What is an overlap? Where is an overlap? Basically, when there is an interval that is overlapping with my new interval, when the interval is overlapping with my new interval. So let's see why we are saying that this is an overlapping. Okay, because in this image that is very clearly that this is an overlap, right? This portion is overlap. But why I am saying that this is an overlap? Why I am saying that this ith interval is overlap? Okay, can I say that my ith interval last point, my ith interval last ending time is greater than the new interval starting time, right? So basically, if I say interval I, okay, comma 1, if it is greater than or equal to new, I am simply writing as new comma 0, this is the condition of an overlap. This is the condition of an overlap, right? So basically, if I want to know when there is an overlap, I can directly say whenever my interval, ith interval, last end time, right? End time is greater than the new interval start time, I will say that this is an overlap. This is an overlap, right? So basically, what I can do, I can create an array and I will put all these intervals before then overlap. So what will be the condition? Basically, I will say until I am not getting an overlapping. So basically, while interval of I, okay, commas 1, if it is less than my new interval, it is 0, okay, and let me put while condition here. While this is the case, basically simply insert all the intervals. So what I will do, I will create some as a result, okay, result array. Suppose this is my result array, and I will basically push all the interval I, until I am not getting it. So this is done, right? I am simply pushing it. I should be less than I, that is one condition. But if my interval I of 1 is less than new interval starting time, simply push. Okay. Now, how I need to merge this interval, right? From this data, I need to create the new interval from 5 to 12. Okay. And there can be different things, right? Suppose there is a huge number of an overlapping, right? 5 to 7, 5 to 7, and suppose 8 to 10, then we have 11 to 12. Okay, then we have suppose 14 to 16. We have a huge overlapping condition. Okay, let's suppose 6 to 15. Huge overlapping condition. How I will, because my ith pointer will stop here whenever my I interval end time is greater than the start time. Whenever my end in the ith interval end time is greater than the new interval start time, it will stop, because that's a condition of an overlapping. Now once it stop, what I will do, I need to make the longest interval. I need to make the longest interval. Okay, how I will make it? Basically, right, this is my ith interval. I will find the minimum of these two, right? So I have two numbers, 5 and 6. Okay, I will find the minimum of this, right? Because I need to create a single interval that is a non-overlapping. Single interval that is non-overlapping. So 5 and 6, which is minimum? 5. So I will simply change 6 to 5, right? And what I will do, I will simply check the end, like what is the longest end time. So we have 7 as an end time, we have 15 as an end time, so it will be remain 15. Okay, now I will simply move to the next interval. Again I will check, okay, so which is minimum? 5 and 8. Okay, 5 is minimum, so I won't change anything. 10 and 15, which is maximum? 15 is maximum, so I won't change anything, I will move. Then again 11 and 5, I will check which is minimum, right? 5 is minimum, so I won't change anything. Here 12 and 15, 15 is maximum, so I won't change anything, I will move, right? Similarly 14 and 5, which is minimum? 5 is on the minimum, so I won't change anything. 15 and 16, which is maximum? 16 is maximum. So what I will do, I will update this with 16. So now we are getting one interval from 5 to 16, right? We have one interval from 5 to 16. Now see, okay, how I get to know that I have out of from my overlapping section, right? How I will run this interval, like how I will run this I in this intervals, in these between intervals. So basically, when I will say that I am out of an overlapping zone, when I say that I am out of the, like, this is not out, right? This interval is not out of it. Okay, these both are in overlapping condition 1 and 2. Here we have 4 that is in overlapping condition. How I will say that I am out from the overlapping zone? See, understand it. Can I say, when my start time is greater than the end time of an new interval, right? When my start time. So now there I am writing the condition of an out. Condition when you out from overlapping zone. So your ith, let me write it here. Move this here. Whenever your interval I, comma 0, that means start time, is getting greater than the end time. Like here your start time is less than the end time. Here your start time is less than the end time. Here your start time is less than the end time. Start time less than the end time. Start time less than the end time. Start time less than the end. Whenever your start time is getting greater than the end time, new interval, end time. Okay, that is one. You will say that you are out from the end interval. You are out from the end interval. Okay, and once you are out from the interval, what you need to do? Again, you need to push all these intervals into the resultant, right? Again, by one, you will push it, you will get the answer. So this will be the simple approach of it. Okay, that's how we are going to do it. Let's try to discuss different cases so that we can get the clarity of the approach much more better. So let's see different so now let's see different cases and understand it much more better. So what I will do, I will create one result array. Okay, and inside this I will basically push like my intervals. So what I will do, I will check like is this is an overlapping interval? No, because the end of the interval, right, is less than the starting point of the interval. So I will say that this is not an overlapping condition. What I will do, I will simply push into my resultant. So I will push 1 comma 2 here, right? And suppose my this is my I pointer, it will simply move here, right? Now is this is the overlapping condition? Yes, your end pointer is greater than the starting point, right? Start of the new interval. So yes, that's an overlapping condition. So what you will do, you will you will find out the minimum, right? You will find out the minimum of these two, 4 and 3, which is minimum, right? 3 is the minimum. So what you will do, change this with 3. 5 and 6, which is maximum. 6 is the maximum, right? You will change it. Okay. Now you will check this next thing. Okay. That is this the overlapping interval? So how you will check it? You will check it basically is your starting time is greater than the end time of the interval. So yes, 7 is greater than the end time of the interval, right? So that is coming after, right? So can I say my work done of this new interval like new interval work is done, right? 3 to 6. So what I will do, I will basically fill 3 to 6 when this is done, right? And now from here onwards, right, I will again check. Okay, and there will be only one overlapping interval. So now I can directly push all the remaining intervals. So I will simply push 7 to 8 and then 10 to 12. This will be my resultant array. Okay, now let's check the next case. Again here, right, I will check, is the end time is greater than the start time? No, the end time of the ith interval is not greater than the start time. So what I will do, I will simply push into my result array, that is 1 comma 2, right? I will move ahead. Here end time is greater than the start time, so I will stop it here. And now I will move into an overlapping zone, right? And when I am like, what will the time that I will be in the overlapping? When my start time is getting greater. Okay, so interval start time getting greater than the new interval end time. Okay, I will stop it. I will basically stop there. So what I will do, I will check is this because I am in overlapping condition. So what I will do, I will find the minimum of 3 comma 4, which is minimum 3. So I will update it with 3, right? Then I will find 5 and 8, which is maximum 8. So 8 is already there. I will move. Now again, I am in overlapping zone because the end time is greater than the start time. Okay, and the starting time is should be greater than the end time. So that is not greater. So I will be in overlapping zone only. So now again 6 and 3, which is minimum 3. So that is updated. 7 and 8, which is maximum 8. So that is already updated. I don't need to do anything. I will simply move ahead. Now again, I am in overlapping zone. Am I in the overlapping zone? Yes, your starting time is not greater than the end time, right? It is equal. So yes, you are still in the overlapping zone. So what you will do, you will again check 8 and 3, which is minimum 3. So that is already done. Now 8 and 10, right? In both ending time, which is minimum, right? 10, which is maximum, right? 10. So what I will do, I will update with 10, right? I will move ahead. Now, is my starting time is greater than the new and end time? Yes. So you are out of the from overlapping zone. Now simply push your new interval. So I will push the new interval, that is 3 comma 10. Okay, and from there itself, what I will do, I will push the remaining, that is 12 comma 60. That is also done. This is how I will do. Let's take one another case. Suppose your new interval at the beginning. Okay, how you will again get to know that this is an overlapping condition or not, right? So suppose this is new interval, you will again check is your is your ith interval end time is greater than the new interval starting time. So yes, it is, right? It is greater than. Then you will come to an overlapping zone. right? First of all, you will check what you need to check, that your interval end time is greater than the new interval start time. So yes, end time is greater than the new interval start time. Now you will check, okay, in this like you will find out, you can, now you are in an overlapping zone, but you will check, is your interval start time, because maybe you are out from the overlapping zone, is your interval start time is greater than the new interval end time. So yes, start time is greater than the new interval end time, right? That means you are not in an overlapping zone. For to be an overlapping zone, your interval start time should be less than equals to new interval end time. Let's like see this condition. Interval start time, interval start time, right, is less than equals to new interval end time, right? 8 is less than 3, and 6 is less than 8, right? Here 8 is equal to 8. So our intervals starting times are like already less than the new interval end time. So here I am not in an overlapping condition. So what I will do in what I will do, I will push 1 comma 2, right? And after this I will fill with 3 comma 5, and then 6 comma 7, basically till the last, right? 8 comma 10 I will fill with all the elements. Similarly, one case will be, let's take this case where we have one interval that is at the middle but that is not overlapping. Let's understand this, okay, very clearly. I am an I, okay, is this is an overlapping condition, is end time is greater than the start time? No. So what I will do, I will simply push into my result array. Okay, I will push into my result array, that is 1 comma 2. Now my I pointer will move. Now is the end time is greater than or equal to start time? No, right? It's not greater than. So what I will do, I will again push 3 comma 5 also. Now, okay, I will move ahead and I will check, is the end time is greater than the starting time? So yes, it is greater. Is it? It is greater. Then I will check, okay, am I in the overlapping zone? Okay, how to get to know that you are in an overlapping zone? That means your ith interval your interval start time should be less than equals to new interval end time. Start time is not less than, right? It is greater than. So you are out from the overlapping zone. So then now what I will do, I will simply push new interval as it is, 6 comma 7, and then from there I will simply push the remaining elements, 8 comma 10, 12 comma 16. Right? Remember that, like in each figure, okay, we have 3 sections, right? One like 2 non-overlapping, right? 1 overlapping, and we are pushing it here. Again, this like here, right? This is for new interval. We are pushing it here. Then the rest of the right here, right? Push 1, 2, 3, 5, right? Then new interval 6, 7, 8, 10, and 12, 16. Now let's see the last case. Again, we will check, are you in an overlapping zone? Right here, you are not in an overlapping zone because end time is not greater than the start time. We will simply push 1 comma 2, then I will be increased. We will push 3 comma 5, then I will be increased. We will push 6 comma 7, right? Then once done, right, what you will do, the last you will push the new interval, right? Okay, 8 comma 10 is, and that this is how it will be completed. Okay, so yeah, this is how all these approaches work. So basically how we need to write the code of it, let's quickly try to understand pseudo code of it. Okay, so basically, right, there will be one section, I will say suppose left section before overlapping. Let's say let's say before overlap, okay, and then even after overlap. Then we have in overlap. Okay, so before overlap, Before overlap, what will be the condition? I will just check while I have already discussed this, while I is less than n, and my interval end time, interval ith interval end time, that is 1. If it is less than new interval start time, right? So new interval start time, what I will do, I will simply push it to my result array. Suppose I have something as the result, simply put the interval. So pushing the interval I comma basically I, right? And what I will do I plus plus. Okay, suppose we have a result. Now in overlapping condition, how you get to know that you are in overlapping condition? The end time, the start time of an interval, if it is less than equals to new interval end time, right? So while I is less than n, the interval I comma 0, that is start time, if it is less than equal to new interval of end. So now I need to find minimum and maximum, right? So I will update my new interval. So my new of 0 will be the minimum of both the things, right? Interval, interval I comma 0, new comma 0, right? And new of 1 will be maximum time, right? So maximum of interval I comma 1, new comma 1. Then what I will do I plus plus, and like once this new interval is done, right? New interval is modified. What I will do, I will say simply result dot push the new interval, right? So I will simply push the new interval. Now after an overlap condition, while I don't need to check it because now there won't be any overlap. So I will simply say while I is less than n, simply push it. So result dot push interval. You push it and it will be I plus plus. And the last I will simply return result. That's it. So this will be the pseudo code of it. What will the time complexity? Let's quickly understand it. So this is running for n time, right? This will run for n time. This is running for n time. This is also running for n time. But at a time, like this whole combination will run for n times, right? N times, or suppose let's take one for interval, so n plus 1 time, right? So the time complexity will, it is not going to be greater than big O of n. It will be directly proportional to intervals n. So time complexity will be big O of n, and your space complexity will whatever the space you are taking. So here you are taking one array. Inside one array you are pushing the elements, right? So suppose there is not an overlap. The worst case we are taking that there is not overlap, then you will push n plus 1, right? So space complexity will be also n plus 1, that is also nearly equals to n. So the space complexity will also be big O of n. So this will be the time and space complexity. So in the next video I will show you how to implement this code, right? So I will give the implementing code implementation, and then we will see a quick dry run of this code, how this is working.